Hello and welcome to Mediabeat. I'm Chris Ahrens, editorial director here at Mediabistro.com, and we are here with Dylan Ratigan, host of The Dylan Ratigan Show on MSNBC. Dylan, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So you've been with MSNBC about 2 years now.
Just about.
After about 6 years or so at
Yeah,
CNBC?
6 years at CNBC and about 9 years at Bloomberg.
At Bloomberg. What's the biggest difference between CNBC operation and MSNBC?
Operationally, they're the same in the sense that, it's producers and it's a TV network. They're all TV networks. I think what is the biggest distinction for me is that when you're dealing with the money universe, Google stock will be up, let's say. And we can have a debate as to why Google was up. And I'll say, oh, it's because of China. And you'll say, no, it's because of the phone. And I'll say, it's not going to last. And you'll say, oh, yes, it's going to last. But what's not up for debate is whether Google stock was up. The outcomes and the problems in the financial universe are clearly defined. And so I think for me it's been frustrating at times, and I've had to develop myself as a journalist to figure out how to deal with the community, the political community, not just the guests, the politicians, everything, their refusal to basically agree to certain simple, what I see as fairly simple truths based on either the flow of money or whatever it is. But that's the biggest distinction. The political universe is the only place where people say, it's clearly observable that something exists, and they'll say, it doesn't exist.
So where do you see yourself politically? Are you progressive? Are you libertarian? Are you more conservative, more liberal? Where do you fall?
Well, again, because of my background being from an economic standpoint, which I think is fairly unique to people that get into the political journalism or the political debate at all, and I see the trillion-dollar problems, I try to focus as much as I can more on issues. How do we have systems that are driving towards solutions? That has sort of it's been an exploration for me politically as much as it is, I think, for the audience and watching me, trying to figure out where this guy's coming from. What I've found, the political framing that seems to fit me the best in terms of as when I look at these things, tends to be what I look at as a real throwback to like a Teddy Roosevelt type of a rhetoric, which is basically cheat or compete. It doesn't matter whether you're big or small or whatever it is. If it's transparent and competitive, it's probably better. Yeah. And if it's opaque and non-competitive, like our legislative process, the way we make our laws, the way we fund our politicians, it's probably not okay. So if you look at Roosevelt through that lens, and if I look at myself and try to really work from a throwback standpoint as a reformer, who has it basically plays to a fiscal conservative or at least an honest fiscal environment. People can solve these problems, and with pretty limited. I feel like I'm as qualified to voice an opinion on social issues like gay marriage as you or anybody else. I don't see how I'm any more qualified to decide what the laws on abortion or gay marriage should be than anybody else in this country, other than I skew towards stay out of my bedroom and stay out of my bank account, and we'll take it from there.
So you, after you left CNBC, before you went to MSNBC, you had a little flirtation with ABC News. What made you decide to stick with the NBC family and go to MSNBC? Well,
if you remember what was happening at that time. We were at the apex of the financial crisis. And it was clear that for me to do what I wanted to do, which was to take my what I see as my relatively unique understanding of the economic system and apply it to a critical engagement of our political system, which I thought was really the most valuable thing and most interesting thing for me to do. The decision came down to, is the most potent way for me to do that to go to ABC in a network environment where the exposure it's a big tent, so you get a lot of eyeballs, but you don't get as constant a voice and you don't have as much control.
5 hours a week or more.
Or do I go to a voice that's a smaller tent? Obviously the audience size at a place like MSNBC is not nearly as big, but it goes to that Washington audience, the politicians, and I've got 5 hours a day. And so when Phil Griffin came to me, or 5 hours a week,
excuse me, 5 hours a day.
Imagine. They shut up, it's bad enough as it is. And so for me, really, it was the opportunity to take what I wanted to do, which was political engagement for what I see as a really unfair system, not because of the control of the consolidated control of resources and consolidation of power right now, and its sort of manipulation of the legal structure in this country right now in a way that I see as fundamentally unfair.
You got a contract coming up, though. We're coming up, we hear. In May. You want to stay with MSNBC?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we are on an incredible roll right now. I mean, the thing is, making the transition from 15 years in finance to establishing a voice in the political theater is no small undertaking. And a lot of the work that we've done over the past couple of years I view as foundational to get us to a platform where now I can engage and we'll do everything. I mean, I could be shocked if we don't have an agreement.
So we're talking with Dylan Ratigan. A lot more we want to talk about. Steel on Wheels
Yeah.
and a bunch of other initiatives that he's working on over at MSNBC. So stay with us.